This is going to be the minute where we get to hear ourselves talk for a second. Okay. So, hello and welcome. And there I heard myself, but y'all may not have. So Tom is not here in my studio. He's just making a nice, hilarious joke. Masa keeps laughing. Liam, you might hear your own echo because of your phone. That's what we're hearing.
Yes.
So anyway, hello and welcome everyone. This is Liam Nilsen, who is now in, I might have said your last name wrong.
No, that was perfect.
Oh, good. Liam used to be part of the Makey Makey team back in the day. In fact, he's always forever on the Makey Makey team, but he is now technically with Lego Idea. You're in the Lego Idea studio, which is kind of really cool. So I'm going to let you talk about that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Liam. Yeah, I work at the Lego Foundation, which is, of course, associated with Lego, the company, or Lego Group, as we call it. But the Lego Foundation is a little bit set aside from that, even though we're all in the same town, Billund, Denmark. And what we do is, instead of making products and selling them, what we do is promote learning through play all around the world. And that's in lots of different types of places. Like our biggest projects are in South Africa and Mexico and Ukraine and Denmark and Bangladesh. But then we have other smaller projects all over the place. And we work with governments. We work with like ministries of education, trying to kind of move education to be more in a playful direction. So things like constructionist education, that is, of course, very aligned with invention literacy and making things with Makey Makey and Scratch and lots of other tools. And so what I do is I work at a place called the Lego Idea Studio, or that's where I normally would be if I wasn't working from home along with everybody else at the Lego Foundation. And what I do there is design playful learning activities. Actually, here's kind of an example of one thing that I've been working on. This is are you seeing my overhead camera?
Yeah, I can focus it though. Let me make it spotlighted while you do that.
Cool.
And then people will see it for sure. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so it's just two mirrors, right, that bookend each other. And let me see if this will work. I didn't test this earlier, but if you take a pen and you just draw a line, right, and then put this on top of it.
Oh yeah, you can see it.
You can see it, right? It's like a kaleidoscope, but instead of a kaleidoscope that you hold up to your eye and look through, it's a kaleidoscope that you can just put on anything. So here's here's a pack of crayons that I got in Japan a long time ago. You just put it on that, and it kaleidoscopes it in this interesting way. So that's the type of thing that I work on there. And then also hosting workshops takes a lot of my time. So when the Lego Foundation has new partners, like if we've got a new project with UNICEF or a new project with let's say the pedagogue education in Denmark, which we do have a partnership with, then the people working on that project will come to the Lego Idea Studio and we'll play together for an hour or two. And then we'll sit and reflect and talk about what did we actually learn in that experience of playing together, right? Because so often people have these associations of, well, learning, that means, sitting down and whatever, filling out worksheets and things like that, which is, of course, not the Makey Makey way of learning or the learning through play way of learning. And so it takes a lot of kind of thinking and reflection to help people see the learning value that happens in activities like chain reaction, right? Or like making Makey Makey connected marble runs or whatever it may be.
Very cool. Some people in the chat are really loving your camera holder. your extra camera. So I wanted everyone to know that's really just Liam's phone. So you could do this too. This is a great like Zoom hack.
Yeah,
and this is, what is that you've built?
It is, I don't know if you can see it. It's just like some pieces of.
Yeah.
Wood.
Oh, you're doing it like that. Yeah, it's just a board. That's totally cool. So that'd be really cool if anybody wants to make their own Zoom hack at home. I saw Chrissy Van Osdale also did that with like a soup can. She took like a soup can and put her phone in another soup can on top to hold it steady, which I thought was pretty smart. Okay, so you are amazing at coming up with fun ideas. And the Story City idea you posted on Twitter, I don't know now, it's been a couple weeks, but I noticed that you did it at the same day that my 10-year-old, who's now 11, I already connected it with Makey Makey, so I can't move it, had built this little cardboard Story City of her own, because this is like a very common play, I think, for kids to make little houses and little rooms. And so I wanted to bring you on to talk about Story City because it's something we can all craft. And then I'll show at the end how I connected this with Makey Makey, and I did my own yesterday, which I already sent Liam, but I'm kind of excited because I did a drawing one. Oh, it's stuck. I'm going to have to use my whole computer and show you, but tell us more about Story City and kind of where that idea came from.
Yeah, so I mean, it was the early days of the lockdown, and I've had suddenly, I commute for like over an hour each way into work, so suddenly I had like a lot of
time.
And making kind of small model cities is, I mean, yeah, like you just pointed out, like that's the type of thing that lots of kids just want to do naturally. And it's something I've been thinking about for a while, kind of inspired by two artists that we can look at in a second. Since everybody was stuck at home, I thought one way that people could kind of work on a collaborative project is if we all, made little model houses and buildings like that. Then just through the act of belief, believe that they're all buildings in the same city. So actually my girlfriend Pia came up with the hashtag Story City.
Oh, nice.
So that, if kids here in Denmark or kids in the US or kids in South Africa can build whatever. One person built a post office, another person built a phone booth, another person built an apartment building. And then their parents can share a picture of that on social media, along with the story that their child tells about what happens there. All the different pictures kind of start to come together and create this mosaic in a way, like they start to illustrate this shared fictional city. Yeah, so it's not super different from things that people have been doing for a really long time. Maybe we can look at some examples too of other things that people have posted.
Yeah.
That was the main inspiration behind it. And then people started kind of rolling with it after I posted the idea to Twitter. There's a teacher, CJ Coley, made like a teacher's guide. It was really great, and shared just a Google document with some ideas for how to tie in questions for exploring like the mathematical aspects of the activity, or the social science aspect of it, or the possibilities for writing projects using Story City.
Oh, I got mine free. I wanted to show you this because I got really excited yesterday when I made mine because I took a building. Oh, you still probably can't see it because my crazy colored pencils. But I did this drawing yesterday, and this is it's actually, I think I took kind of a building front. It might be Denmark, and it's definitely European. And I had so much fun coming up with the stories with my kids. And in some of the little windows, I drew little people. And so in Scratch, it definitely does a whole different thing when I put it into Scratch and made it interactive. So I thought that was really, really fun idea. So what are these? You told me two different people yesterday that were like your main inspiration.
Should I screen share?
Yeah, you can screen share. And everyone who's here, there is actually, Liam does have a webpage about Story City that I'll share here in a second. And you made a video too.
Yes. Yeah. We
Yeah.
can all of those. And actually,
Yeah.
well, before screen sharing, I just want to say the Scratch project, I think is such a nice example of like taking the ball and running with it, right? Like the original idea behind Story City is super simple, right?
Right.
Just, make something and then share the story behind it, and then it becomes like one little snapshot of this fictional city, and that can go in so many different directions. Like it could be a batch of cookies. You could bake a bunch of cookies and take a picture of it, and then say that, like, the person who lives in that window baked these cookies and their neighbor could smell them. Like that.
Right.
That the type of detail it could go in, or some people are doing kind of more broad stories, but the
Oh,
idea is it's just a creative prompt, so you take the ball and run with it however you want.
right. And I don't know if you looked at the Scratch game that I made based on Valley's funny little thing, but I just like took the characters from inside here and cut them out, and then I let her tell me what was supposed to happen for each game. But like I just
Cool.
cut out, these are my sprites are from this cardboard, and the Scratch, like the way you can do that in Scratch now is so much better than it was like a year ago. Like it looks really good. Like it looks like I made these super cool little cardboard things, but all I really did was take a picture of that and erase the lines outside of it. So I'll show that later. But someone asked what Story City was, so I was just like chunking it into the chat window as it's a playful idea where you have kids craft buildings out of everyday stuff or draw them and then tell stories about it. So.
And it's also like a way to encourage parents to share examples of their children's creativity.
Yeah.
I think is a nice part of it also. Okay, so I will share my screen. Are you seeing this?
Yep.
Okay. Well, here's actually, let's start here. So this is kind of the main inspiration was this kid, Muhammad, who is from Aleppo. And because of the civil war there, him and his family had to flee as refugees to Turkey. And Muhammad is an aspiring architect, and so he started building this project that he calls Future Aleppo, which, I mean, you can see here, it's this huge model city that is Aleppo. I saw this a couple of years ago, and it just really stuck with me. It's just a really beautiful story of kind of imagining, how a city could be. And that type of environment just invites so much, like, ooh, wow, what about this thing? Oh, I know, I'll put a little bridge between these two buildings. Or, I know, I'll put a, exterior elevator here and a gondola from here to here. Right. And I think that type of emergent creativity is so important in playful learning, right? Where, like, sure, yeah, maybe you have a prompt and it's that playful magic really, I think, comes in when kids start to, take the ball and run with it, right? And add their own ideas. We can share actually a link to this article.
Yeah.
There's a I should have found this earlier. Somebody made like a virtual reality version of this paper city. So we go to futurealeppo.com, and I haven't actually done this because I don't have any like virtual reality equipment, but you can kind of tour the model city that he made in VR.
Wow.
Thanks to a couple of people that heard about his story when his whole city was at a museum in New York City.
Wow.
And then a lot of people got to know about it. And then the kind of second person to inspire it was Buddhist Isaac King Les, who's this really amazing Congolese artist who, in finer detail, for many years, I think he's dead now, made these really beautiful sci-fi kind of imagined, cities of the future. And actually, my mom and my brother saw this show at MoMA in New York, and then sent me a bunch of pictures of it because they knew that I really like stuff like this. That was probably a year or two ago, and I've just wanted to use some. I wanted to kind of fold his kind of style and way of doing things into different projects for a long time, and it kind of came into this.
Yeah, that is really beautiful.
Yeah.
So show some of your buildings, because you actually haven't shown us very many of your buildings yet.
Okay, I will stop screen sharing. So
And then I'll spotlight your little your overhead.
Overhead.
Mm-hmm.
Here,
because it looks so cool. Oh, it looks great. That looks great.
This is the first little building that I made. Oh, actually, that's the back. Little balcony. It's just like a small, very kind of Danish apartment building. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any windows on the sides because it's a row house. So it's easier. And it's got a little balcony off the back. This was, the one that I kind of used in the main tweet. I think this is probably my favorite one. It's the Twin Toads building.
So cute.
And it's got two, these are actually Lego pieces that have been affixed. I think I really like just mixing different materials, right? I think it's kind of cool to like put Lego pieces on with cardboard.
Yeah.
And here's another building. I felt like this kind of looked like a casino or something, or like a, I don't know, some kind of wacky, maybe office building.
It's very futuristic.
Here is, I've got a whole basket of all the different ones. Here's a triangular apartment building.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool.
This is the first one where I added balconies.
Yeah.
There we go. We're using a different technique on this side than on this side. And the website, which we can look at in a second, one of the things we want to do is like to share different building techniques. Because like it took me 3 attempts to make a balcony that I was, we didn't really like these two, but I like this one. And so I want to share that like building technique. Here is a bowling alley.
Cool.
It's like, maybe constructed in the mid 90s or something, when it's,
it looks like Meow Wolf.
Oh yeah, I bet it does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the outside of that looks like, but
it looks like that. It's like an 80s, 90s bowling alley.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. I made a whole bunch of little phone booths.
Oh, they're so cute.
Modeled after the Oslo phone booth design, where my brother lives. So those are some of the ones I've made, but much more interesting is, I think, the ones that other people have made. Should we go to the website and look at some of those?
Sure.
Okay, are you seeing my screen again?
I am.
Okay, so this is the website that I am working on together with some of the people at the Playful Learning Lab at the University of St. Thomas in Minnesota. You might know some of their projects like OK Go Sandbox, or Squishy Circuits.
So Anne-Marie Thomas.
Yes, Anne-Marie Thomas. So Anne-Marie Thomas won the annual Lego Idea Prize this year from the Lego Foundation. And so this is kind of one of the fruits of our new partnership. So cool. This website, storycity.land, it's up right now, but you need a password to get in. And the password is all lowercase, no space, Saga Town.
Okay.
SAGATOWN. So you can look around. It's not like totally ready to go live yet. I'd be super interested to hear what you all think, if you have any notes for how we can make it better. And so the first thing you see here is just the kind of feed from a bunch of different social media sites. So it's like, this is pulling together stuff from Twitter and from Instagram, so you don't have to go to each platform. There's a couple of different posts. These ones are really great. There's somebody who made a whole Instagram account and is posting each day.
Oh, wow.
Story of these little Lego people. Here she's like planning her vacation and going. I think she goes to Harry Potter World. I guess this is in reverse chronological order. But,
yeah.
But if you go to the account, there's some really nice stories there.
Yeah, I was sharing with you yesterday that those little minifigs in Lego, and I actually think the friends, those are called the friends, right? The girls like that. Those have really inspired a lot of kids around my daughter's age. So fourth and fifth grade, I've noticed a lot of kids making these dioramas of like playful places to go. And I was telling you about my daughter making a shop, and it had all the tops of minifigs, and there was like a person shopping for a new shirt, and they had pushed aside the other tops to get to it. So I just thought that was really funny. And a lot of her friends do that too, where they make these whole stories based on Legos. So it's really, really cool.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. I think that type of imaginative play is so, yeah, super rich and interesting.
Yeah. You said the password. I'm going to try to type it in the chat for everybody because they're asking.
It's Saga Town.
Okay.
It's AGATOWN.
Yeah.
Actually, one of these ones that I wanted to point out. So here is one that David Alstorf made, who was also actually one of the inspirations behind the project. He, when he was at Project Zero at Harvard Graduate School of Education, worked together with Tufts and the Lego Foundation and did this shelters project at the International School in Billund, where his students in the makerspace built these really beautiful, like small shelters on each their own little platform.
Wow.
And then they combined them together and had to kind of negotiate. Here you can see them all put together. They had to negotiate space because there was a fixed amount of space and a fixed amount of resources. And they did some really interesting things, like to get materials instead of just having a free-for-all on materials.
They had a shop for them?
Well, they got materials in return for a narrative. So, so there was somebody who was like, oh, I really need a whole bunch of blue construction paper. And the story that they came with was they were going to build solar panels with them. And so then they got those pieces. And so I'll post this or send you the link so you can post this too. This is just a PDF of the Making Engineering Playful in School.
Oh, I'm trying to show I wanted to show just like 1 second of this Makey Makey project. The greatest thing now is that I can use my iPad, right? So, because it works now. But there's Frederico. I've cut him out and put him in there. And then I'll probably share the scratch in there. I did a different thing because I noticed that my daughter was like drawing their text and it actually looks better. So I thought that was kind of cool. And I put the scene in the background. And the first thing you're supposed to do is find the pigeon. So in the real thing, I have to hold Earth and touch the pigeon drawing, which is right there. And then it makes this go. This is too hard to do live, but I made a whole video about this yesterday. I'll share the YouTube link, but I just like cutting it out and putting it in Scratch was just so easy. And then when I went ahead and made the poster version, which I'm actually like updating our whole interactive poster idea with this project, because this is such a fun way to make an interactive story, because it's not just about the poster here that's physical. It becomes about the poster in Scratch too. So like my Scratch cat actually like walks to this door and goes up in this door. So it's a really neat way to combine physical and digital like learning and playfulness, because then the Scratch cat comes here, and my daughter was helping me code this last night, and we made up this whole thing about this yellow building as a museum, because I was going to go to Belgium this summer, and I learned that a lot of houses, or like this could be a whole house, and some of these, like a patriarch's house, someone who's rich, but they would be like a whole museum now. So I thought, well, that'd be fun if this is a museum. And we made up an artist called Donet, who did paintings every day about donuts. But then when you play it, like Scratch can show donuts and donuts shoot out. And so we actually learned a whole lot of math, and we learned a whole lot about Scratch, just trying to program these funny things to happen. And we're at the last little window of the dog that then Scratch inspired me to change that story, because they had a dog with an astronaut helmet. And I was like, oh, well, this last story will be about the dog who wants to be an astronaut. So nice. It's kind of a really interesting way to play with story, because you're not just telling your story can change when you start putting in to the physical world into the digital world. It's just really changed it in a funny way. So especially the Donay, because we were like coming up with stupid names last night. She was saying Leonardo. She was really into the idea of like a famous artist and hacking their name. And I know Tom built some kind of story city too. So I want to see what Tom built.
Let's see.
Well, so this is interesting. You guys like my shop, by the way?
It's a great shop, Tom.
Yeah, there you go. Man, I wish I had a shop like this. Mine is not nearly as neat. So this idea of Story City, I was describing this to my wife Ann yesterday, and thinking about today's webisode, and so Ann, as it turns out, we live adjacent to a national forest, and she goes hiking every day. And one of the things that she's been doing, sort of secretly, and is building little tiny doors.
Nice.
And when I say tiny, they're like, some of them are 2 inches, 3 inches. I think the tallest that she's built was maybe 7 or 8 inches, but it was very narrow. And she finds these nooks and crannies in the trees. And because she knows she's been walking there for so much, but these are not like really easy to see. You would have to be walking and paying attention through the forest, and maybe you've stopped to get a drink of water, and then you look over and there is this little tiny door. And so occasionally there, and she doesn't make a big deal about it, she just puts them out there, paints them, and sometimes puts little welcome signs and hinges on them and little doorknobs. But I was like, oh, this is sort of a tiny city type of thing.
Totally.
But the idea is sort of the same, is that when people see them, they start to wonder, like, what's going on here? Who lives here? And so I think that that's sort of the magic. I'll share a photo, but I do have on my other phone here. Let me turn my camera on, because normally, can you guys see this? Colleen, you might have to.
Oh yeah, let me spotlight your other video.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, look at that.
So now the Boba Fett here that's my edition.
Of course.
Being a Star Wars fan. But oddly, Anne has been just finding little stones and then painting them.
Oh, they're cute.
And I added the balloon when I brought them downstairs. These normally live on our fireplace mantle. And I added the balloon thinking that I was going to make a, before today's call, a, like, what was that movie, that Disney cartoon movie? Up. Yes. So, so anyway, that I was thinking that I would do that, but anyway, I just thought I'd share this because there's, it's like these rocks sort of lend themselves, these little tiny rocks lend themselves to creating little stories. And so we now have a little city. I should have taken a photo of that.
You should submit it on the website.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. All right, we'll do that. I'll put it on the mantle. So every day we get to sort of look at this little city. But what's funny is when people come over, I'm used to it now. But when we have a guest over, they come over, and it's really interesting, Liam, because they come over and they say, so what's the story here? Why did you do this? What prompted this? So I think that for the same reasons that you're talking about, we're seeing this play out in just a very simple way. Is people are curious. They want to know what the story is behind, why you did it. Are these places that you've built inspired by something else that you visited? So anyway, that's my story with this.
I changed the spotlight to Liam because he's obviously making us a building right now. So
Yes.
Oh, you know what? I just, whenever I'm at all idle, like
you just start doing something.
in a Skype call, I start some kind of craft project. I'm also working on a quilt right now.
Nice.
But building small model cities is also something you can do. Well,
Yeah.
if your phone is off on,
So you're just recycling your cardboard there.
yeah.
Keep going. Don't make us stop. Don't let us stop you. You were making a building. Well, somebody's got their hand raised. So we are actually out of time, but I was going to let Liam build one building just because it looked really cool. And I didn't
Well,
even.
I mean, if people are following the Story City hashtag, they'll see it.
Yeah, cool.
So Liam, how many of these have you built?
I've made probably like, I don't know, like 10 or 11.
And do you assemble them all? Do they all belong in the same place? Like in the same town?
Yeah, they're all, Tom, have you been listening?
Listening to what?
They're all, I mean, these and all of the other buildings that people all over the world make and then post using the Story City hashtag, they kind of all become a part of the same shared fictional.
No, but I mean, like
He meant yours at your house.
Okay, they have been. I made this like platform with an old cutting board. I took a bunch of fabric to make like some grass and a river, and I put it all on there. But then I really needed the cutting board back. So now they all just kind of live loose in this little basket of buildings.
Oh, nice.
I will put them together again at some point.
So we have a couple questions in the chat, and then I'm gonna answer them. We're probably gonna let everyone go, but someone said that Scrappy Circuits make a great addition from using items from home. We actually talked with Michael Carroll of Scrappy Circuits last week, so if you missed that, you can go to makeymakey.com/blog and see the video with Michael and kind of see some of those Scrappy Circuits, which actually I forgot to tell you guys that I did this all with paper clips. And I've never used paper clips as my poster thing because I realized, if we're doing things from home, how are we going to do it? We don't necessarily have brass fasteners or binder clips. Chris Coley's asking if you have templates for your buildings, but I'm thinking no, it looks like he's just building them.
Well, so on the website, we're posting some templates just to help people get started. And I think there's only like one up there right now. Mostly what I just do for like standard-ish sized apartment buildings is take a ruler and mark down the same width like 5 times, so I can here we go. So I can set it up like this. Here I've got, this time it's a little bit shorter here and wider here. I want to do an extra fold for kind of like, I don't know, some kind of weird detail. We'll see how that turns out.
Cool. And I was just going to say this, I've seen lots of kids doing these. I think my kids' art teacher actually had them make these in shoe boxes. So this is obviously just an old shoe box. And then all the material is crafted out of cardboard. And basically, if you let kids do things, they'll just come up with stuff like, here's a tiny little doghouse that my daughter made.
Oh,
yeah, super cute. And then the other question someone had was how I connected my Makey Makey to the iPad. So this is just magic because the iPad OS just updated and now takes key presses and mouse clicks, and it didn't do that before. So that's one of the magics. And the other magic is this camera adapter. And I posted on our blog 3 different adapters that I've tested that work. I've used some off-brand ones and I used the on-brand one. And the really magical thing is now you don't even have to have external power. So the operating system updated in a way that's sending power out through the adapters, and that wasn't possible before either. So it's just super, super cool thing, and it'll even work on your phone. And Clement says he thinks he met me at the Bet show in January, and that Clement, are you from Scotland or Ireland? And did I say something really cheeky to you? Because I did say something really cheeky to someone I met at the vet show. Oh, he says no. Too bad, because that was like one of the funniest things that I remember doing. I said something really, really funny because I've been in England so long that I thought I could just start saying things that I don't think you're supposed to say.
In your Cockney accent.
In my Cockney accent, Matthew Moore would tell you all how terrible all my accents are because I kept going. I would go from Cockney to Scottish to, it was pretty terrible. But anyway, thank you. Clement liked my lab coat. I think a Scottish and a British accent coming from a Texan like me is probably pretty funny.
I want to, before Liam left Asheville a couple of years ago to move to Denmark, I went over to his going away party and he gave me this wonderful gift.
Oh, we can't see it. You have to turn your green screen off.
I'm going to turn the green screen off because this thing is kind of cool. Let's see here. Hold on.
We can see you now, Tom.
Okay. So it's this.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Do you remember making that, Liam?
Yeah, actually, I have it somewhere. I have a bunch more of them.
This, I have never attempted to make one. Do you remember what this is called?
Yeah, it's called modular origami.
Wow.
And I had a bunch. I could swear I just had a bunch here somewhere. Yeah, they're just.
Here's a smaller one to give you an idea on scale. So this one, I guess, would be faster and a little simpler, less, fewer parts. But this is these are two of my prized possessions.
Aw, that's really nice, Tom.
Yeah. And I do want to mention that this talk of the cities, these small cities, I remember an interview with Adam Savage, who many of you might remember was headed up the Mythbusters. But there was an interview he did, and I'll not forget because he was asked, one of the questions he was asked is, how do I start in the maker movement? Or how do I get kids to start in the maker movement? And he said that one of the best ways to start is to build a scale model of your house, or if that's too big, build a scale model of your room. So if a child when you held up your ruler, Liam, this whole idea, that's what triggered this memory of building a scale model of something you're super familiar with.
Awesome.
That is a really interesting idea. I like that. Yeah.
Hey, we got to go, you guys. We have lots of things to do today. It's early here and late there, and a lot of people in the chat are saying thank you, and they have other meetings to go to too. And thanks, everyone. Oh, Elizabeth, that was really nice. First, Valerie said this was edutaining, which I think is wonderful, entertaining and educational. And Elizabeth Pearsall, who has come to a lot of these meetings, said a creative bonfire only takes one spark. Thank you for today's spark. Yes. And I think that's an excellent way to end this today. Really fun. Just make things out of everyday stuff and see what you can do. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Bye.
Liam, for your time today.
Thanks for having me on. This was super fun.
Yeah, you're on the other side.
If you make model buildings, post them somewhere and use the Story City hashtag so they can join.
Oh yeah, we weren't very clear about that before. We should make sure we say, yes, if you put it on Twitter, put the hashtag Story City, Liam will see it. And you had a place to submit it to, right?
Yeah, that's on storycity.land.
Storycity.land. All right, so I'll put all those links up in our makeymakey.com/blog later today, and I'll put this recording there too. So thanks, everybody.
Cool.
Bye.
Everybody.
Bye. This is the awkward part where I say bye for a long time. And I try to figure out how to turn everything off so y'all can go. I have to turn off YouTube first. Bye.